Yeah. Yeah. I'm the king on the court, hear the crowd go wild. Ballin' like MJ, ain't no rookie child. From the jump shot to the touchdown pass, let go my ego, watch me outlast. Got my jersey on, number one, no debate. Crossing defenders, sealing my fate. Fans screaming loud my name in the lights. Every game I play, reaching new heights. You can't bench me now, I'm in the zone. MVP title, yeah, it's my throne. Never folding, I'm bringing the heat. Let go my ego, I never accept defeat. I'm the king, talking sports, reigning supreme. Slaying every game like it's a dream. Never let go of this ego I hold. More than enough for me and my amigos. Oh, from the diamond to the ice rink, I run the show. All eyes on me wherever I go. You drop the ball, I caught it all. Save the game when I got the call. From courtside seats to packed arenas. My name's in lights, big screens, big media. Fast breaks, hat tricks, slam dunks and style. Playbook thick, maneuvers versatile. Fans chanting my name, yeah, they know my fame. From the kickoff whistle to the victory claim. Coaches, star player, team shining jewel. Never phased, I make my own rule. Give me space, no backing down now. Pressure's on, but never throw in the towel. You being edgy just fuels my fire. Let go my ego, elevating higher. I'm the king, talking sports, reigning supreme. Slaying every game like it's a dream. Never let go of this ego I hold. More than enough for me and my amigos. Go from the diamond to the ice rink, I run the show. All eyes on me wherever I go. You drop the ball, I caught it all. Save the game when I got the call. Yeah, I'm the champ, the ruling ace. Let go my ego. Winning every race. The sports world's mine, no time to fall. King of the game, hear my victory call.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back with a YouTube stream. Want to do a little more of these. I do have to sign into something, so I'm gonna lag for a second. Oh, that's terrible, but okay. I don't like the way that is, but we'll put that up there, I guess. So like you can't sign, yeah, whatever. So we are back. It's been a minute since I've streamed on YouTube. I feel like every time I do, I normally do it quickly. I gotta figure out how to do it. I just made a thumbnail and everything for this, but since I'm doing it on Twitch, it didn't go through as like I thought. So now I got it. I gotta figure that out, and I'll do that at a different time. But but yeah. So a lot of news to talk about in the and not just in the sports world, more just hockey news, man. Like the amount of it's not drama, but it is at the same time. The amount of crap that is happening in the NHL right now is just ridiculous. The amount of trades that are going down, the amount of work that needs to be done for a lot of other teams is just ridiculous. So, like, let's get into some of these stories here. I kind of came unprepared, so bear with me. This was spur of the moment type of thing. I need to do that. I need to hold that. I need to look up this. So this crazy week has started pretty much because of one man. His name is Brady Tkachuk. Now we kind of knew that, like, listen, trades are gonna happen. They always do, and we know that. Like, we're all not dumb. I don't think anybody expected everything that ended up happening to happen. Especially because it's kind of funny to me that Brady Tkachuk, and I made a solo video about this, but we talk about Brady Tkachuk and how he ended up on a team that he's just, oh my gosh. we all knew this something like this was in the works and potentially going to happen. Wrong button. Uh, but basically, let's talk about the Brady Tkachuk trade a little bit, and then we'll go into the other stuff. But Brady Tkachuk was traded to the Ottawa Senators for the 9th overall pick, the 25th overall pick, a first in 2029, and a second in 2030. So they are going to get a lot for Brady Tkachuk, and a lot of these they could also use to flip to go get other talent because they did not stop after getting Brady Tkachuk, which is pretty gosh darn smart of them for doing. Now, also in this news, we had a lot of news about, Hall of Famers and Puckpedia for some reason only announced 4 even though there was more. But congrats to Patrice Bergeron, Pecorine, especially for those two for only being on one team their entire career, and then Carey Price. Same thing, even though technically he's a Shark. And Keith Tkachuk. I think it's crazy to me that Keith Tkachuk. What a freaking Father's Day! You get the news that your sons are going to be playing together, and then later on you get this news that you're freaking going into the Hall of Fame and being a Hall of Famer. But that's pretty much all the trade news that happened with that. Nothing really else came out. There's some other news that happened as well. And it's funny to me. I actually kind of called out of one of the coaches that were going to get promoted. The Vegas Golden Knights are going to make Ward the Henderson Silver Knights coach. Obviously, they promoted. Brian Craig. And, he's been on this team for a while, so now he gets to, see, there you go, coaching career as assistant coach with Henderson and began his coaching career 2020-2023. So he's a former player, been with the Silver Knights, and now I feel like the Golden Knights are at that part of their, journey where they want to have some homegrown guys. It's funny to me that they go get a head coach that isn't recycled in the same cycle, and then everyone complains. But I think we're all used to it. And I went a lot more in depth on the video about all of the crazy stuff that was happening with the whole situation with Team USA players, and we will talk a tad bit more about that as this goes on, because can you blame them? Can you blame them? Double checking if there was any other information, but right now it feels like the Sharks could genuinely go and make a big splash. They have 3 first-round picks, so I feel like they can go and make a splash if they really, really wanted to. But we heard some more about Dylan Larkin. Dylan Larkin is his top choice at the moment is the Dallas Stars. So is he going to end up there? We'll see. I feel like Jason Robinson at this point has to be a part of the deal to send him there. But that has been kind of quiet over the last couple of days, especially because Mike Babcock has officially been signed. There was some expansion news, and then that is when more trades started to go down, and this started a trend. So all of a sudden, the Devils said, let's give you a defenseman. We're going to trade some players. And honestly, they get a haul. I think that it's a very interesting trade. You get a player, you get not 1, not 2, but you get 2 first-round picks, a 35th overall selection. I think that this is a pretty decent trade if you really, really think about it from the Calgary standpoint. I think that makes a lot of sense. I think that it helps get some money off the future because they've already spent so much on that blue line. I'm surprised that Hamilton has not already been dealt, but sounds like they, made a good move. And for a young team like the Flames, I think it's a smart move for their future that they obviously need to put a lot more attention on. Then, I think this was an amazing trade. I want to know people's opinions on this one, but the Ottawa Senators give up the 9th overall selection for 3 players, but the big one being William Eklund. And I think that this was a very, very smart decision. And it's funny, I like this comment because we'll talk more about it. but the 2nd and 9th overall for Larkin. And I actually really like this comment, and I'm happy that I saw it. We'll talk more about it when we talk about Larkin, Hellebuck, and a lot of other guys that are rumored to be traded. But this isn't a very important thing to remember when we come back. But I think it's a good trade. I mean, especially right now, the Ottawa Senators need it. They need anything they can get at this point. So I think a great trade. Speaking of, Werenski. Let me just get all of these together. Yep, get that. Nope, and then we'll get this one, and then we'll talk about all. All right, that seems perfect, lovely, jubbly. So then we had a big trade request, slash not really request, but just discussing a future. Kind of interesting to me that they're talking about the future of organizations of teams. But one thing I just always found funny was that you're looking at Zach Werenski. It doesn't sound like he is formally asked to be traded. But it just sounds like it just seems like, hey, you're almost to your contract. Let's talk about it. A lot of these other guys are doing it if you have 2 years left. And I think Werenski is a guy that they really need to talk to. And speaking of that 2nd and 9th overall selection, I feel like that's something that Columbus could benefit if they wanted to give the opportunity to give him to the Sharks. I think if I'm the Sharks, I'm kind of jumping all over it. I know you kind of want to help Celebrini, but I think getting him a defensive guy like this, I think would help tremendously. And giving up that 2nd and 9th overall selection and still having a selection late in the first, I mean, I think this would be golden if I'm the Sharks to jump in on a defensive player like this. I know, like, let's just get the younger a young version of a talented defenseman. You just don't know what it'll turn out to be. He could be an amazing player, but we know that even if you're a top player, there are risks, right? Like we didn't know, like, yes, Bedard and Celebrini. Right now, Celebrini looks like an amazing player. Bedard hasn't really had a good surrounding cast, but he doesn't look like that guy everyone thought when they kept saying generational. But I feel like this is a move that you really need to make if you are the Sharks. If he fully is available and they really want to go for him. Then Washington made one trade. They ended up getting Jordan Kyrou, and they send 2 players in the 16th overall selection in with it. So I think this is a good trade. I think that both, I think it was time for some changes in Washington. They know they need to bring in some, older veteran guys to hopefully bring in to add into this. But definitely something to keep an eye out for with the Blues, because I think they're really selling the farm here. Watch out for Jordan Binnington. Now, the biggest trade that shocked everyone last night that we need to talk about. Bowen Byram was traded to the Chicago Blackhawks for Jordan Greenway. Now, on paper, if you said, okay, Byram to the Blackhawks, hell, take out the 4th overall pick. If I saw just that and I didn't see the 4th overall pick, I would say, okay, that's not too bad. Let's get a little more in close. Oh, can I not get any more close? Okay. It's this. The 4th overall selection. And I saw a funny ass comment. I saw a comment that said the 4th overall selection for what? The NHL Draft? Because genuinely, this is like an NBA. Like, what are we trading a 4th overall selection for? And now listen, Byram has been a really solid defenseman, and he's been a good defenseman for the Sabres. But like, let's be honest here. Like, that's what you pay for Werenski. Like, that's what we're talking about here. Like, you're paying a Werenski price for Byram. Like, I keep thinking, I think I keep saying Brady Bowman, by the way. Sorry. I don't know. It's the BB that I keep getting confused. Anyways, but Byram, what a 4th overall pick is nuts. It's not nuts. It's damn right crazy. Who the hell are you're paying? What are we doing? And literally, the freaking that 4th and 45th pick is gonna get flipped to Winnipeg. I thought the same thing because they are rumored to being in on Hellebuck, and I immediately. But I've said this with like 5 different teams now, where I felt like the more picks that we're getting, hell, I feel like that for the Sharks right now. The Sharks at this point can trade. They can keep that 2nd overall selection. Now, I'm sure that Winnipeg will try to convince them to add that to the deal. But the Sharks could trade, like, what? The what other pick did they need? Like the 16th, the 27th, and Askarov over for Hellebuck. And I feel like that's a fair deal. Like, I genuinely feel like that. But, like, at this point, I feel like the Sabres could just do that. You could literally flip Byram for Hellebuck. Like, I feel like this is just a crazy deal. And you could bring, Levi or Luukkonen. Like, you could trade one of those two a part of a deal for a goaltender. But, man, this trade makes no sense on paper. And it's just sad because it's like, I like Byram. I think he's a good defenseman. But once again, I don't think he was even the best defenseman on the squad. Like, I think you look and you obviously think Dahlin's number 1, and I think Owen Power might be number 2. But you could argue that wasn't even the case as well. But I genuinely don't understand why. I mean, I understand why you pick up the phone if you're Buffalo, if you know you can't re-sign him and you can't get him to a deal. Now, this deal ends up looking a little worse because I know a lot of people were wondering, well, is this going to affect Alex Tuch? Because maybe, you're going to give Alex Tuch a lot of money because this dude wanted like $10 million. And they didn't want to give him that. Well, now we can give that money to Alex Tuch. That ends up not happening. We'll talk more about that and the Sabres' future. And speaking of, we'll just talk about it right now. The Alex Tuch trade has gone through. He was traded. And I know a lot of people said that's it, but let's be honest. Like, you got something out of nothing. You think about how, like, Vegas, it was a 1-for-1 trade for Nick Waugh and Mitch Marner. I mean, you got to get something for a player that you're probably just going to lose in free agency, right? Like, that is not the... Like, that is the case in the matter. Like, let's just be so accurate now. Like, would you rather just give them up for nothing, or would you rather get at least a pick? And a 3rd-round pick's pretty good. But 8 years, $10 million AAV. That's a lot of money. He had a very good year. He's been a very solid player, and he's really turned into a top team winger. Right? Vegas had him in the first year, and he honestly built himself up on the roster. But Alex Tuch, as the years went on, he has gotten better and better. And obviously, I think Vegas, they wanted to keep Alex Tuch, but the thing was that they wanted Jack Eichel, and they needed to get rid of a player that had a lot of cap, as well as somebody that they just felt like, how are we going to win quicker than later? And they ultimately ended up just saying, okay, Alex Tuch has to go. I'm sure that they would much rather have had it as Pacioretty at this point or somebody else, But they ended up trading Alex Tuch. And I feel like now you can kind of say Vegas has won the trade. I feel like Peyton Krebs hasn't become that top center that everyone expected. He's been basically a middle 6 guy, bottom 6 guy. He really never got to like a first liner status. Alex Tuch is probably the only good piece of this deal, and now he's gone. And yes, you could be like, well, that 3rd-round pick could become awesome, but ultimately, you got back in the postseason, but you really didn't do anything after that. This is the biggest thing I'm interested in is what is Buffalo going to do to combat these losses? This isn't a deep free agency class anymore, right? Like, this is not a deep class. Are they interested with all the picks that they've gotten and all this? Maybe they go out and make a big-time move. Like we already said, maybe a Connor Hellebuck. Maybe they shift to trying to bring in a Larkin. I think that would be ridiculous. Maybe they're willing to offer a crap ton of picks Robinson. But I mean, you didn't sign him. I think Robinson wants the same contract, if not more. So I don't think that's going to happen. So I think he wants 12 AAV. So there's no way that's going to happen. So that's one of those things where it's just like, what are they going to plan on doing? Now, for Washington, I like this because between him and Jordan, I think that you're bringing in some speed. And that's something that this team really needs. Like, they have the young guys, but like that. I love Alex Ovechkin, but he is slow. He's a slow guy. And I think that this is finally somebody who can come into the lineup and be quick. Alex Tuch is big, quick, speedy, and I think that's one thing that makes Tuch very scary as a player because he's such a big body and he's such a great defenseman as well. Like or defensive, but he's just such a big body, but he's a great forward, being able to score, being able to create opportunities, and he's really good passing the puck as well. Overall, he's just a great player. Defensively, I think could be better. But I think Alex Tuch is going to be well in Washington, and being on that top pair, or at least that top six. Now, what does this mean for Alex Ovechkin? Because I know a lot of people are like, well, based off all these moves, is this like, hey, we're going to go one more year? Is this the end? Is Alex Tuch kind of the replacement? Is this the end of the Alex Ovechkin career? We'll find out. It sounds like, I think I saw something that we won't know until July 1st. But maybe he said maybe he's willing to come back, but maybe not for the Washington Capitals. Maybe he doesn't like where they're at. But where would Alex Ovechkin sign? And the question would be like, where is he going to sign? What is he willing to take? Because, if he wants to go try to win another cup with a team, you're taking a massive pay cut, right? Like, say he wants to go to Florida. He's going to have to get like $1 million because they ain't going to have no cap. If like, same thing, you want to go to Vegas, you're going to have to take a low cap. But I feel like there's only one place he wants to return to, and that's Washington. And I think that ultimately, I think he has a decision lined up that maybe he wants one more year. Every time I see those pictures of him and like having 18,000 suitcases of him and his family going back to Russia, I just wonder if he's tired of that. I wonder if he is just like, man, I'm 40 something, almost about to be 41. Like, I've had a good career, won a Stanley Cup. Ultimately, I don't think he has nothing else left to prove. I think if he never won that Stanley Cup, we would talk about maybe he tries the ring chase, like I was just saying. I don't think so. I think ultimately, if he signs again, I think he signs with Washington. And yeah, if he comes back, this team looks great. I mean, I still think this team looks good without him, but I mean, like, I think adding in Tuch, and I thought Tuch was definitely going to finish his career at Buffalo Sabre, 100%. I think I expected that 100%. Just the way everything was being talked about and all that fun stuff, like, I definitely thought Alex Tuch was potentially going. But so now let's look at some news and rumors, and we'll talk more about everything else. But the Maple Leafs will likely check in on Connor Hellebuck, but it's unlikely they land him. I think this is very like a foregone conclusion. Like, we understand that that's going to be the case. I mean, I think a lot of teams are going to check in. Hold up, we have a trade actually just now. One moment, please. Vegas also keeps posting, and it's and we kind of knew this was coming because we know Colorado has to end up with cap. Hold up for a second. Give me just a moment. Getting live news on the air. Wasn't expecting this. Threw a pin in my plan. Come on now. Lord have mercy. It's taking forever to load. Hello? Is there a reason why it's not popping up on my page? Okay. Okay, here you go. I have a question actually. Did Puckpedia post it? It's better just to have a visual than read. Yes. All right. And actually, this kind of sucks too because I like Jack Drury, but it looks like Jack Drury has been traded. Here is the full trade. But here we go. The Predators give up 2 former first round picks. uh, I don't know. This is an interesting one. Dury looked really good, I thought. Like, they just got rid of the depth guys that looked the best in the postseason. Him and Colton looked great. And didn't they both get dealt to Nashville? Chase Bradley and a 2029 third overall pick. I genuinely think that no one gives about anything right now. They're just trading everybody that you can. Because, like, man, I haven't even gotten to the part where teams got to go through, but man. Oh, my goodness. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what Nashville's plan is. They're trading the wrong people. And I don't know if this is their plan of like, hey, let's add depth because now we don't have to trade a Marshall Stowe. We don't have to trade a Stamkos. We don't have to trade. I don't get if that's the move. Right? If that's the move, then I think it's a stupid move because what is the point of that? What is the freaking point of that? I think that this trade makes no sense, as of many other people probably agree. I mean, Chase Bradley, you get a prospect if you're Nashville. But I mean, like, is that the trade that you really need to make? Like, I thought isn't Nichushkin like I thought it was somebody else was like the priority to get out of there, but it doesn't look like it. But it is honestly showing you like the teams that are making trades and the teams that are not. It's very intriguing because you're noticing a trend. Like, let's get back to this now. So yeah, they're not likely to get him. Okay, so it wouldn't be a shock if the Mammoth entered the Connor Hellebuck sweepstakes. I think it's an interesting thought. It's an interesting thought because I think the Mammoth looked pretty good last year. Hellebuck, I think, would make them even better. I think they're missing some more scoring. And I think that is kind of where you need to focus on. And I don't think their goalies didn't do terrible either. In the past 24 to 48 hours, the Stars have been has taken more calls on Robinson. I think it sounds like the Stars have a number. Robinson and his team have a number. From the moment we heard that they're in contract negotiations or talks, they have never gotten on the same page. His team is here. His team is here. Then they just never get on the same page. I think it's official that he's just going to get moved. I think just trade him, try to get some picks and stuff for him again, and you could reload. And we'll talk more about this here in a little bit because I think maybe it pops up here again. But if Dylan Larkin's preferred destination is Dallas, I would use Robinson in the trade 100%. Panthers remain open to giving Bobrovsky more term but less AAV. That now needs to be the point. Like, I think that right now they want to bring him back. I think they know it's like, hey, we can keep Lendl. They have circled back to Connor Hellebuck. But right now, if you could just say, listen, we'll give you this amount of years, this much money, can you take it? I think I think maybe they can convince Bobrovsky. Because if I'm Bobrovsky too, like how much like the same thing with Ovechkin earlier. It's not a legacy thing. Who gives a shit? I'm a 2-time Stanley Cup champion. Like he's won cups. He is gonna go down as a Hall of Famer just because of this last part of his career. He has really made himself into the Hall of Famer category. He has been one of the best goaltenders consistently all season and every other season, right? The question is, and hell, like, I think there's a lot of people that, like, hey, the reason why a lot of people are pissed off, he could also have a Conn Smythe. He could have had a Conn Smythe, but they ended up giving it to the losing team, which I still don't understand. Especially because if you're going to give it to the guy who has the most points, then why didn't we just give it to Marner this year? Because he had more points than the other guys. But that's neither here or there. That's just my opinion. Like, that needs to go away. That really needs to go away. It should be the winner of the whole thing. But this is, I think, the most important piece. If you can get him to sign an AAV that's less but a longer term, I think there's a chance that he could stay, because I think there's both sides that want to work. But what does Bobrovsky truly want? Because if he ends up leaving and we end up seeing that in a couple of years from now, or like a couple of weeks from now, or days from now, when we see in July 1st him get traded, because I am going to do more streams like this, just not as professional, because I'm going to be away from the setup for a little bit. I want to get more and more on this channel. But you wonder what other teams are interested in. I think that they're willing to give him more years and AAV. We could skip this. We already know what happened. The Kings, Wild, and Leafs are linked to Vincent Trocheck. I think this is very interesting. I feel like the Wild and Kings are very intriguing. The thing is, I think I would rather the Wild make a lot of sense. Can they get him and Larkin? I don't think so, but I think it would be. I think immediately their teams that team would be favorites. And the Leafs, I think, would be very intriguing. The Canadiens, the Senators, the Flyers, the Kraken, the Flames have been linked to Mason McTavish. Notice the theme with half of these teams. The Canadiens and Senators, well, actually, this first top line, all playoff teams. The Kraken have been in this limbo. The Flames have been in this limbo. The Flyers, I feel like, are going to take a step down next year. The Senators, who knows where they're going to be. But I think adding a guy like Mason McTavish might be really good for that squad, because they're gonna get younger, and they got to kind of figure out that. The Kraken, I think they need to just they keep throwing stuff at a dart, hoping that something happens. So let's see what happens. And yeah, the Seattle Kraken have traded their 7th overall pick for Blake Coleman. That seems real. The Sharks' 2nd overall pick could still be in play for a trade. Now this is intriguing because we've already talked about it. If they want a Connor Hellebuyck, that 2nd pick is going to be a must. I think that you're going to try to make the other picks, but number 16 and number 2 are, I think, the biggest selling points right now if I'm the Sharks. That's why I don't understand, why are you going to talk to Werenski tomorrow or after the draft? Talk to him today. Like, Werenski, do you want to be on this team? What is the future? Do you want to give it another year? Because that's what, like, a lot of people are, we're going to look at that Twitter post here in a minute, that they said that, or if I could find it again, that they are trying to see if Connor Hellebuyck wants to give it another go before he makes a decision. So we'll go based off this. The Minnesota Wild could be interested in Tomas Hertl this summer. I think if Vegas is going to land one of these big fish, I think that this is interesting. Like, especially in my opinion, if they get Larkin and Hertl is still around, the Wild is definitely one of those teams that I think will have to call Vegas. Morgan Riley has been linked to the Kings, as well as a couple other teams out west. I believe he has 4 teams out west. And the rumored teams are the Kings, the Ducks, the Mammoth, and then there's been like a mystery team I could only assume is Vegas. But I just don't think Vegas would make that move. The Kings, I feel like, could make this move. And I feel like the Mammoth would make this move as well. Looking for the Oilers to be a team. Look for the Oilers to be a team that's interested in Rasmus Ristolainen. It kind of sounds like, after this has been a couple hours, it kind of sounds like he's going to give it another go, and potentially stay. But that is to be seen. We're gonna seek some more on that. Hold up, did this just happen? Is this real? No. Okay. Not trusting that source. But teams have been interested in. This is actually interesting. When it says teams, I'm curious what kind of teams. But you could assume maybe the normal playoff team / maybe a Utah or something in that nature. The Kraken's 7th overall pick is absolutely in play for a trade. Who? It would only, I think, in my opinion, it has to be a big fish. Has to be a big fish. Calgary Flames have been linked to Jordan Spence, which is pretty interesting. Now I'm curious. Do maybe they want to do like a change of scenery where we just heard that I think it was Zari that might be on the other, might be traded. Does Jordan Spence and them kind of just flip? I don't think so, but we'll see. I thought this was very interesting because even though the Red Wings have been linked to him, does that mean like this will be like if a wild trade does happen with Larkin, this I think would be a huge piece in making sure that deal gets done. Um, Calgary's just in on all these young guys. Pittsburgh's okay, some draft stuff. Okay. A lot of people drawing Penguins' attention. And then this is the last thing I believe. The Lightning max offer was 6 years at $6 million for Radish. And we all saw how that ended up. Okay. So no, that was a normal thing. All right, let me make sure that no other trade has gone through before we start talking about more stuff. Yeah. Okay. Now, is there anything I missed? Nope. No. All right, let's start talking about some other stuff that has happened. Oh, we have one new post. All right, has nothing to do with it. All right, so here we go. Let's look at some of these. And I don't know how much of these are real, but I've heard a lot about this actually, so we're going to go into this first. And then we'll, I think, try to talk more about Connor Hellebuck and all these other guys. So I want this big and bright for you guys. So the Jordan Binnington and the Blues, as we know, they kind of feel like sellers right now. I'm expecting him to move this season, off season, whether it's Florida, Edmonton, Toronto, wherever. I think I had him linked to Vegas. There was rumors that him and Vegas, I guess not like they were on the same page, but it kind of felt like Vegas was potentially in the goaltending market this last offseason during the trade deadline, and it kind of felt like that a trade with Jordan Binnington could be in the works. I think it would have worked for Vegas, and honestly, I think they regret not making the move. I think if they could have figured out a way to make Vegas go, if Vegas traded Hill and brought in, which is I think one of the biggest things, Vegas doesn't like trading people away during deadlines, but I think if Vegas traded away Eden Hill and got Jordan Binnington, Vegas might have won the Stanley Cup, or they might have been out second round, because I think Jordan Binnington would have been in a playoff position, and imagine him in the finals against a guy like Busty and stuff. I think that we knew that he locks in when the pressure gets hot. But I think that's why it's interesting that Florida and Edmonton are both interested. He's a $5 million goaltender that is not expensive, or maybe he's $6. I don't remember, but he's not that expensive. And if I'm Florida and I'm Edmonton, I think that this is a chance to go after a goaltender that could help you win. For sure. And I think Florida would love it if they cannot get a suitable replacement. Aiden Hill has been linked to the Jets, Florida, and the Devils. Devils want to move Markstrom, and I feel like this just makes a lot of sense for Florida if they can't get Hill, if they can't get him, that Binnington goes over to one of those two teams. People are wondering where the best fit is for Morgan Riley. Maybe Utah, San Jose, Anaheim. I said that. Byram. Oh, yeah. This is actually Brendan Gallagher. If they can't get a deal done that makes sense done, then I do think that the Canadians simply will trigger the buyout option sooner rather than later. I think that that is an interesting thing. Obviously, I think a lot of people are going to wonder where he's going to go, but I think they're going to try to. They gotta find a deal, right? They gotta freaking find a deal. And then actually, let's go more on this. My understanding is Dallas went back to Robinson's camp last week with an offer, clearly not accepted. The word is 14 plus per year. I've heard upwards of 15, and some teams preferred to go that route, even the offer sheet direction. Man, Robinson, you're talented, but damn, you ain't that talented. Like I feel like that. I feel like 15 million. Like, dude, that's a lot of money. And I know the salary cap is going up, and all these guys want to get as much contract as possible because as the league continues to grow, the money is going to get better. And I'm not about to sign an 8-year, $7 million or a 7-year deal that, by the time I'm on my last big contract in the NHL, like that money is going to be gone. So I understand it. That's also why I feel like the NHL should introduce a lot more of a like cap based, where like kind of how teams do it, where they can defer the money into future years. Because I know that, well, then that would just screw everything up because like teams like Vegas and Florida would very much utilize that. Like, oh, hey, Marner and Eichel, you guys just signed long-term extensions. How about we move this money all the way to year 8 and year freaking 7, or let's just move it into next year. Oh, well, we're going to move that money actually to next year too. So like that's why they don't do it. But it's like, if they did something like that, I feel like it would help with the cap going up because this deal could have gotten done. Get a $15 million a year, and then gradually you could just be like, hey, we're going to move 2 years to this, 2 years to that, something in that nature. But $14 million and you decline it is rough. Okay, that's the one I want to talk about, but I don't think we should talk about it yet. Let's talk about this since we're in the conversation about it, right? So there is a high collection of interest in Jacob Robinson. Could see a sign and trade. This is then where I think this comes into play. Dallas is going to make news here before Friday. I think they want Jason Robinson thing done, and I think they want Dylan Larkin. I don't think that's going to happen. They're not going to get both. They're going to get one or the other. You are either going to get Larkin or Robinson. If you can land both, great. I don't think you can land both. Then your money is going to be so tight because you're going to be spending so much money on Robinson and you're going to be spending a lot on Larkin as well, depending on what you trade. I feel like if there is not a deal done, a sign and trade is going to have to happen. But then what team is going to sign a $15 million contract? Now, we know that there are some teams that are willing to offer sheet him. And I think that at this point, it's more likely that might happen than something else getting done. But Dylan Larkin, I feel like it just makes more sense. If Detroit wants Jason Robinson, I don't know why I want to call him Jacob. Robinson, they got to communicate. Will they give him a $15 million a year contract? I doubt it. Especially a team that kind of needs to figure out where the hell they're going with their future. That trade doesn't make sense to me the more and more I think about it, but I think it's definitely possible. Every year people are like, stop talking about offer sheets. They won't happen. All I'll say is I'm hearing the same rumors that there's some coming. I don't know if that, and we'll talk about that. Dorofeyev is a big offer sheet, and we're going to talk about Dorofeyev because I think Dorofeyev, like I just saw a comment. Why is Vegas taking so long to answer? Or like, why isn't, we've heard nothing but Vegas. Wait. Okay, who cares about that? Sorry, y'all. But it's like, what is next? And what is the overall plan for a guy like Dorofeyev? Because we keep hearing this thing and keep hearing these rumors that Vegas is gonna do something big. Vegas is gonna do something big. I think Vegas is waiting on what's gonna happen with Dorofeyev because I think right now, if they could figure out a way to keep Anderson, but not make him sign an 8-year deal, because there was some rumor about Pietrangelo that he's gonna come back. They clearly don't understand the severity of his hip injuries, like we were told. Like we were told his hips are gonna be ridiculous. I don't think Pietrangelo's coming back. I think that was all just noise, and I think he's not gonna play ever again. I still think he's gonna be retired. Because if he did, I guarantee you right now, they wouldn't be worried about Dorofeyev, and they damn sure wouldn't be worried about. They would be trading Aiden Hill right now. They would be trading Hurdle, and they would be trading Dorofeyev, and they would be trying to figure out a way to sign and trade Rasmus Anderson. I can tell you that much. they're going to try their best to do a sign and trade with him to at least get some assets back from trading a lot. But right now, I think it just sounds like Vegas. And we'll talk more about the offer sheets because we'll talk about how terrible this free agency class looks now because most of them are just third, fourth liners, which I guess is good for like the good teams because like now you could add in, all these depth players and hopefully some of them could just, take decent contracts. But here is the news I wanted to talk about because we'll kind of go into the RFA stuff. Connor Hellebuyck, I think the Jets are busy trying to convince him that they can give this one more shot. I think they've got a lot of convincing to do. That's accurate. They do need a lot. That year, they lost one guy. And one guy in Steelers, and it just destroyed everything. I think that Hellebuyck has been on that team for so long, and they haven't gotten past the second round that it's similar to other teams where it's just like, how much more can I take? I think that, he needs another team that could kind of manage him better. Like, yes, Connor Hellebuyck's a great goaltender, but notice who were the final four goalies, by the way? Who were the final four goalies this season? It was a rookie in Montreal, Anderson, who didn't play most of the year, and it was Bussy, Carter Hart, and Wedgwood. I'm pretty sure most of those guys, at least 3 of the 4, you could add in their career earnings, and they have not made the same income as Connor Hellebuyck, right? So sometimes everyone's like, paying a goalie, sometimes you don't need that. And I think the Jets are in a situation and in a spot where they suck so bad that they need to figure something out. They're in a situation where they need some help. That's why I come back to why I think Vegas is very much in this conversation. Now, let's think about the cause and effects if Florida ends up going after. Florida would have to give up Lindell, and if not, some other top player. And they're going to have to figure out a way to get a backup goaltender on a cheap deal and maybe some other depth pieces at cheap deals. I think Vegas is more suitable at making crazy moves because of who their new head coach is going to be. He's worked with these guys before. He's worked with the young guys in Henderson the last 3 years. And I genuinely think he is going to make the Vegas Golden Knights just as good as everybody else. So far, every coach has won their debut, and each coach has had a very successful first year. Hell, look at Tortorella. We've now had 3 guys. Isn't that crazy? Vegas has had 3 head coaches that in their first year behind the bench, they went to the Stanley Cup Finals. Shit. So right now, Ryan Craig's got huge shoes to fill. Didn't think about that until just now. But Connor Hellebuyck, man, like that. This is honestly a big deal because, like, I truly think that there's a world where Connor Hellebuyck is gonna get moved. But here's my thing: if you can convince him, when is too much? 5 games into the year, if they're just dramatic. If way before the deadline, let's just say before the All-Star break, if they are not even in a playoff spot and they look terrible, is that when it's enough? Because here's the thing that Winnipeg needs to look at. Take a page from Ottawa. Ottawa didn't want to wait an extra year. Ottawa was not going to wait for this BS. Let's get rid of the distractions. Trade the mofo now. And if there's only 2 real options, remember, he has a no movement clause, so he could veto any trade that he wants. Unless it's the team clause, but I don't think it is. I think it's a strict no movement clause. If Vegas and Florida were the options, I think he's choosing Vegas for 2 reasons. Maybe a couple. But Vegas, I think there is well, I think the East might have an easier path, but for Vegas, I think it's a way easier path than the Pacific. So you can get through 2 rounds, and Vegas could win a 3rd round for you and go to the Cup. Florida will have to probably play a tough all 3 rounds up to them. But I also think for Winnipeg, I think the only deal I'm taking, because I said Connor Hellebuck, but it's more of the Winnipeg Jets. And I get it. Everyone sees the Vegas stuff, but when it comes to this stuff, I try to go like even kill, right? Like the Mammoth, okay, that makes a little sense, but like I don't see a team that could win a Stanley Cup. Buffalo, I think there's still lack of scoring, and you just lost the top defenseman, and you just lost the top forward, so I don't know how I feel about a goaltender getting added to the mix. I feel like then you're going to be in hell, and all those guys are going to be traded anyways. I said the Sharks, but are the Sharks ready to compete for a cup now? No. They're like a Ducks. They're like a Utah. I think those are teams that are going to have to freaking make an extra step forward in their progression. You know, like, I think right now, Connor Hellebuck, like, you hear these teams like, yeah, of course, I think that I think he would take a lot of deal. Hell, if Montreal decided to go after him, I think he would be great in Montreal. But I mean, is that team ready to take a leap? Because I'm feeling like these teams that were in the postseason this year that was young, a mixture between youth and veterans, I don't think they're going to be that successful next year, especially with all these moving pieces. Buffalo doesn't look like they're going to be in a good spot with these 2 exits unless they can fill those holes. I don't think you could fill those as of right now the way I'm looking at the roster. Now, yes, we still have free agency and all that stuff, but right now there's not many good free agents. So trading is pretty much the only thing you could have to do. Would Buffalo be willing? I mean, you couldn't get a deal done with Alex Tuch for $10 million, but can you add $15 million for Jason Robinson? You know? Like, that's a tough move. So, like, when you're Hellebuck, and right now the only team that, in my opinion, if Vegas and Florida gave the Winnipeg Jets offers, I think they would say, where would you like to go? We're going to tell you where we would like you to go. If Vegas offered, if negotiations just went sour with Dorofeyev, I think I see a world where Vegas says, okay, we can go out and get another winger. Or I like Dorofeyev. I do. And I understand everyone saw him in the postseason. That's when they saw him at his top level. My problem with Dorofeyev is the power play. He's a power play merchant. But they relied on him so heavily on the power play that when teams realized that's the only option they truly had, him and Hurdle were the 1-2 punch option on that power play. Marner or Theo, depending on who it was up top. Mark Stone, Eichel, none of those guys would get goals. It was only Hurdle or Dorofeyev. Dorofeyev is definitely a power play merchant, and it's not disappointing. I mean, it's good. But in the postseason, that's when it fell apart, and you needed him to step up a little more. And he did. He did score a lot of goals, and he did score some big-time opportunities. But you're playing with Jack Eichel. Like, you're going to get those opportunities 5-on-5. When you're playing on a power play that has a lot of great talent on it, of course you're going to score. So, I feel like paying him a lot, I understand, and he is a good sniper. Like, he could shoot the dang puck. And he's one of the only guys, like, that truly shoots it. Like, hey, I'm not passing. I'm shooting the puck. And I like that about him because it's like, I think if Eichel shot the puck more, I think we would be 2-time Stanley Cup champions because he went to hit the post 2 games in a row. But guys need to shoot the puck a lot more. And Dorofeyev does it. But I could see a world if those negotiations get sour. And even if they can convince Hurdle to go to Winnipeg. Because he would have to waive his clause unless that's a place he had as his list that he could go. Vegas is going to have to trade Dorofeyev, Aiden Hill, and a 2028 first-round pick. I don't think you need more than that. Maybe a second or a third to round it out, like 2 players and 2 picks. There's no way in hell that Vegas is going to give you Trevor Conley. You want to know why? Because if Dorofeyev is a part of that deal, Trevor Conley is going to have to be a goddamn Golden Knight because they're going to need a freaking winger. They're going to need a young winger. Because in that point, if they're going to also keep Rasmus Anderson, you're going to have Anderson, Hannafin, Korzak, and then Theo and McNabb, and potentially Lazon. They'll have to fill in that sixth and seventh defensive spot. You have Carter Hart, and you would have Connor Hellebuck. Then you would have on your top line, you would have Barbashev, Eichel, and I'm just going to say Stone for now. Then I would say Carlson, Marshy, Jesus, Carlson, Mitch, and Howden. Hurdle, Trevor Conley, and then I'm going to just say they try, even though I have a sneaky suspicion he's retiring this year. We can get into that, but it's the charity softball match. I just have a feeling he's going to retire at it. We'll talk about this here in a second. Then too. Hold up. Potential more news just broke. I don't like dead air, but okay. Yeah. So you have that, and you just wonder what's next. And I think if Riley Smith doesn't retire, that's your third guy. You have Kolasar and Dowd signed. So then who's going to play that other spot? I think it's Braden Bowman would be that other winger. So I think you add in some youth to the lineup. I think that all those guys played in this organization last year. I think you can clearly go and get another guy that can jump in and out of the lineup. Defensive wise, if you want to bring back Lazan or try to bring in somebody for cheaper, I think it makes most sense actually, because if you can get a guy like Brett Burns, if he just wants to try to continue to cup chase, I think a guy like Brett Burns makes too much sense for the Vegas Golden Knights, because Vegas would put him on their bottom pair. I feel like watching that Colorado series, Burns just got bit a lot of times. He's not a top end defenseman anymore. He's in his 40s. And I think that being on a third line is better, and it's hard because I think you're still going to get cooked no matter what. It's hockey. But it's like, I think a third line pairing would be better for him. So if he can take a cheap deal, play with Korzak, maybe, just maybe, that might be the rhythm. But maybe Vegas just says, you know what, we like the way Coughlin played. We like Hutton. We're going to see if we can bring him back. Lazan, we like his physicality. Let's see if he can take a cheap deal to come back. Vegas is going to have to rely on cheap deals, especially if they're going to keep Rasmus Anderson. Now, there's a world where they only trade Hill. Like I've said, there's 3 phases for Vegas. 2 of them revolve around deals. The biggest key to all of these is can you get Rasmus Anderson to sign for less? Can you get Dorofeev to sign as low as possible? And then you have to trade Hill. And then probably if you're going to keep those 2 on contract, you're going to probably have to get rid of Hurdle as well. And then what can you trade those guys for, right? And I don't know if, a Hurdle and Hill, would that give you Hellebuck plus, the other things I mentioned earlier? Maybe. But I think Dorofeev, sweetens the deal a little more, because it's like you're getting a scorer, somebody that you really need, and I think that the Winnipeg Jets would love that. But can that work for their money? I think so. I mean, you're getting rid of you're getting rid of an $8 million goaltender, but you're also adding a 6 plus whatever. But they'll figure it out in that case. But another team that is reportedly also been interested is Carolina. Could be in for Hellebuck, and I don't think they should do that. I mean, like, man, Bussy played so well. Are you just gonna give up on him after 1 year? Bussy would probably be the. I would not rule out the Panthers on the call. Okay, I've heard this 10 times. So that's really just the big thing I keep seeing, and I'm keep being interested in as the time goes on is, what is next for a lot of these guys. Oh, you know what? I have to check something, because I just realized. Who did? Oh, never mind. I think I'm good. I just looked at the World Cup stuff, and I just realized who won and who lost. But yeah, how much more do we think we gotta talk about? Hockey wise, because that's the problem with this being like it's a hockey show right now. I kind of want to focus this. Um, See that people, and I just want you guys to see a theme with this picture. Okay, there's a reason why people want to go to these teams, and there is a common theme with all of them. Okay, what's the difference between these teams and these teams? What do you guys see? I don't only see these states, not giving me a lot of tax. I also don't see a problem with this because you want to know why? Most of these teams, and it's crazy that they won't add the Avalanche to this list. Because I think there's a difference between these teams, and maybe not Carolina, but these four especially, that I don't see here. That's freaking consistent winners and consistently not waiting to make a move. Florida made a head coaching move when they needed to. Dallas made a head coaching move. They have a great head coach in Tampa. They don't really need to. But they make the moves to get better every single year. They make the moves to get consistently better. Vegas, there's a reason why they're successful. Everyone says they're ruthless. That's not a bad thing. How long did it take for, a lot of these teams to actually move on from players that they should have gotten rid of years ago? You know? Do we not think that the Panthers, I just noticed a lot of these teams, but do we not think teams like the Predators should have made some moves? They're a team that we just saw. They're making depth moves, and that's congratulations, dude. But what are we doing? What are we freaking doing? I just think it's stupid that we're sitting here talking about certain teams, right? And Nashville, they can't even decide when to fire somebody. I would have fired Barry Trotz after the middle of his second year, his second off season. I would have fired him because of the moves and the trades he was making. That made no sense. Nashville doesn't have a terrible team. And that's the only reason I can think about why they're not trading a lot of their guys. Remember what we heard before this season started? Oh, they're going to trade this guy. They're going to trade this guy. They're going to trade this guy. And it's I don't see it. I do not see it. And it's just I'm just waiting for these moves to be made. That maybe Soros. Heck, maybe Forsberg. Because I think I saw a lot of Forsberg stuff later down the line. That's bro, why are we not seeing it now? And I think that's the biggest part and the biggest point that we're trying to make here. It's that's a team that is holding on for dear life. They're trying to hold on to something that isn't there. And it's just I don't understand what's next. But I think that's a team, and you think about how long did it take for Buffalo to make a change? How long did it take for hell, look at the Leafs. The Leafs are the prime example. How long did it take until somebody said this relationship between Marner and us has to end? It was Marner. It wasn't the Leafs. It was Marner. They had an option before his stuff kicked in to freaking be gone from that organization. But instead, they kept him and they kept him and they kept him. And that is why that team sucks. And why they fell apart after he left, because they didn't have a consistency plan. They could have gotten picks, prospects, but most importantly, probably gotten back a player in return if they got a deal done before the year he needed to go, or before the 2 years of hell of basically just continuing to go with these guys. Not just them, William Nylander. I would have built my core between 3 guys. I would have been like, all right, we're going to build this instead of the core 4. I've always said if your core 4 is the same people, you're screwed. Because their core 4 has always and consistently been the 4 forwards. Like, you need at least 2 forwards, 1 defenseman, and a goalie for a core 4. And I think William Nylander should have been the one that was traded ages ago. And I think they could have made some magic between Mitch, whoever they would have gotten, Austin. And it's like, that's how you're supposed to work things, but they never do it. The Leafs ownership and management, it was terrible because they didn't make changes. No, like they put all their money into these 4 guys. Everyone likes to blame Mitch Marner for taking the money and the money he's owed. It's funny because I feel like, by the way, what's his face? Freaking the Steve Dangle podcast. You can't tell me that you want players to get paid, but then when they get paid, you get pissed off. Because at the end of the day, who gives a shit? Like, like that is your team's fault. That is your team's fault for not planning for an NHL freeze. That, hey, maybe we should put all of our money into 4 players. Maybe we should trade them to get a group. Because all you needed to do was trade one of them, and you could have built a team, a big team around those guys. Hell, I still think hell with Tavares and hell with if you figured out a way, and maybe not Tavares, but definitely if William Nylander was moved, and you could have packaged it up by bringing in some guys that could help that roster now, or even picks that could help that team now, you probably would have been in a better spot. But you just weren't. But yeah, that's one of those big things that you look at, and we just got to see where the future holds. Connor Zary, by the way, they're trying to move him. I mentioned this earlier. He has another year left on his contract after this season, and they're asking for at least a 2nd-round pick in return. Calgary is, and we have to wonder where he could potentially end up. I mean, for Zary, I'm not going to lie. I actually think that a potential, like, a really good team might take a chance. I thought about this earlier, but, like, if Vegas ends up trading, they need some lower cap players and they end up trading Hurdle, would they consider just throwing a 2nd-round pick? But I wonder what is going to be next for a lot of the free agency moves. I think to finish off this, and I'm actually shocked. I think I went way too quick in the beginning because my goal is to try to stream almost 2 hours. But I don't know. And it sucks because I really, really, really wanted to post, or I really wanted to make this strictly hockey because I kind of wanted to have it where almost every other day we would try to like make some moves or something. But instead, I don't think that is going to happen. Sorry, y'all. Somebody was like honking. I was like, my hearing things. I'm also just trying to get rid of all this BS that's on my computer right now that is in my way. Because I am going to open up bam and bam. We don't need 2 of these open. And let's. All right, Puckpedia. I might lag for a minute, so give me a second. I got blinded. Holy hell. Freaking the Blues have 13 picks in this draft. If they don't start spend. Oh my goodness. How do you have 13 picks in the draft? So here we go. We have some like trade summaries and stuff like that. We don't need any of that. We need free. I want a full list of all of the unrestricted free agents heading into this season. Now they did take one off, and that being Alex Tuch. He was number 1 on this list. Alex Tuch was. So you really look at this. Number 1 guy is now Alex Ovechkin, a 40-year-old that, what would his cap hit be? I should have looked before this, but like what is Washington willing to do, right? What is the Washington Capitals gonna give him? For a 40-year-old who's 64 goals, you look at Mantha, how much will he get? Because he scored the same amount of points. Just one more goal, one less assist. So it's like, maybe does Alex Ovechkin take a pay cut if he comes back? Will they have enough money for him and continue to make moves around the roster? Maybe, but I think that that's a very interesting decision to come up with Alex Ovechkin. Anthony Mantha, I don't think he's going to be back in Pittsburgh, so he'll be a free agent. He's kind of bounced around the league for a while. I believe he was with the Capitals, then he was with Vegas, then he was with the Flames, and now he is with the Penguins. And it just feels like one of those situations where it's like he can never get like a full-time job. I wonder if this might be the year that somebody takes a chance on him. And maybe one of these younger teams, like maybe an Ottawa tries to get another goal scorer middle of the line. He obviously, like I said, had a great year. John Carlson, he's older, but like this is pretty much his last contract. We know he kind of wants to come east. Will he come east and do some things? Patrick Kane, what's that going to happen? Is he going to come back to Detroit? I think right now he's not coming back to Detroit. And I'll be so frank with you. I think Patrick Kane might be a guy who I could consider getting something similar to about a 3 to 2 year deal. But I could probably consider him trying to cup chase. And I know that's crazy because of how great Patrick Kane is. But I won't be shocked if Patrick Kane decided, let me go to a team that is trying to win a cup. Like you saw him go to New York to try to win a cup. You saw him to Detroit to try to get that team to the playoffs. It hasn't worked. Vegas apparently was very close of getting Patrick Kane a couple of seasons ago. I believe the year after they won the cup. I think it was the year after they won the cup. Vegas was really, really trying to get Patrick Kane. If Vegas, gets rid of Dorofeev, brings in, like, imagine a world. Imagine a world. Vegas trades Dorofeev, Hurdle to, let's just say, to get Hellebuck. Hellebuck's the goalie. And Vegas, their forward group, their left wingers, up, down. Let's just do lines. It would be Barbashev, Eichel, Stone. Second line, Mitch, Howden, Carlson, Hurdle, Trevor Conley, and Patrick Kane. I think that would be huge. I think Vegas would take a chance on a guy like Patrick Kane at this age. Brings that veteranness to the lineup, and I think he would help. Now, Patrick Kane, obviously, you see that, like, he's not scoring many goals for you, right? He's more of an assist maker, and I think that a guy like Trevor Conley and Hurdle, something that those guys really need. So I wonder if Vegas really tries to get Patrick Kane here. Zuccarello, he's also very old. Do they try to re-sign him? Not that bad points-wise. But you can kind of start seeing a trend of how many guys are on this list that aren't that great. Victor Arvidsson, where does he end up with those $4 million AAV? Now, here's where we get to somebody that is interesting. Claude Gaudreau. He is almost 40 years old. Similar situation as Patrick Kane. Now, when we talk about ring chasing, I think this is a ring chase. We saw him go to Florida before Florida ended up winning the cup. Before they even went to the cup the year before, right? So, like, it's been a minute, and he went to Ottawa because they thought Ottawa was going to be like the place to be and the place to hopefully bring a Stanley Cup. I feel like this is one of those situations. Now, this is just me. Once again, if you are a veteran team, maybe if you're going to lose out on these guys like Zuccarello and everything, maybe you consider, or even Marcus Johansson. If they lose Marcus Johansson, is there a potential possibility that if they don't get like a guy like Larkin and they kind of screw themselves, do they try to go after a guy like Gaudreau? I think they should. But like another one, and I know this is where I think my bias does come in, is Vegas. Like, That only happens, once again, I think this only happens if they trade. Like, there is a real big possibility that Vegas just goes and brings in a lot of veterans to also add in some youth. I think if they can keep Trevor Conley and Braden Bowman up in their roster, they're going to be fine. But I think the one thing is that guy right there is like, if you have to trade Hurdle, I mean, I don't think I would mind a guy who like this, but you need to give him wingers to score. But like Johansson, Vladimir Tarasenko, Tarasenko, hell, like I'm sorry, but I would rather have Patrick Kane and Gaudreau over Vladimir Tarasenko. Where does Tarasenko go? Does he try to re-sign with the Minnesota Wild? I don't know. Rasmus Anderson. As of right now, it sounds like he has a handshake deal. That's the biggest thing right now. It sounds like that handshake deal is done. Mason Marchment. Now, this is an interesting one to me on many different levels. I think if I'm a Minnesota, if I am a maybe a team, like a young team like the Ducks. No, maybe not the Kings, but I feel like for sure, I feel like Minnesota is a good fit for Mason Marchment. Maybe a Utah, but it just feels like Minnesota is probably the better option um, to get a guy like him. I wonder where his AAV would be, seeing as how his 4-year contract has come to an end at 4.5. Anders Lee. Now, like, notice like this: nobody is young in this situation. The youngest guy is Marchment and Mantha so far. Those are the youngest guys. Sorry, and Anderson technically. Andre Kopitar, we know he's retiring. We know that it sounds like a similar deal, maybe just a little bit extra money, like a 3.5. Eric Halla might be traded or might re-sign. Boone Jenner, what happens to him? Does he go to a veteran team? Corey Perry, is he done? But this is another guy who, I mean, similar to like a Patrick Kane. He's at that point in his career where he is older, where I think like a veteran team makes the most sense. Heck, does Corey Perry retire? I think I would be cool to see him return one more year with the Ducks, but I just don't think it's going to happen. But I wonder, Corey Perry, will he call a Panthers? Will he call a Panthers and say, I'll take $1 million? I'll take 1.5. I'll take $1 million just to play a fourth line, third line for you. Vegas, hey, I'll play fourth line for you. Like, that's the point that he's at, where he'll be calling these teams like hell, depending on what the Stars do. Dallas, I'll come back. Do the Lightning re-sign him? Jamie Benn, I think he re-signs. Same thing for about $1 million. I think he's at that stage where that's probably where he's at. I think that's re-signed. I think that will be re-signed. Honestly, this might be the most interesting two players actually available. I think that Tolvanen will get a huge contract, I think, somewhere else. Maybe not a huge contract, but, I mean, makes 3.4. Now, in this year, only made 36, so he's probably looking at maybe maximum 4.5. Nope, I don't know about this move. Brett Burns, he was on $1 million contract. I just mentioned it. Does he re-sign and take like a third D pairing? Does he take a third D pairing anywhere at that point? Like, I think most people are. Okay, I had to look into this for a second because I had to look into that for a second because the Winnipeg sent a really weird tweet. But that's kind of where he's at. Jacob Trouba, like, where does he go? Is he gonna re-sign? I think we've heard rumors that he might not. If he resigns, I think that it's a great place for him to be. I mean, he is the captain now, right? So, no, he's not the captain there. Not the captain there. My bad. D'Angelo, where does he sign? This is a guy I feel like that might sign a pairing somewhere else. Notice we haven't hit any goalies yet, but we'll get there. I'll try to make sure we get there in a second. And honestly, because I don't like that it's like only skaters and it can't be like other guys. But like most of these guys are gonna make lower end on the market. Bergstrand, what is he gonna get? Is he gonna get it from them? AJ Greer, I feel like they would try to re-sign him, but I don't know. James Van Riemsdyk, Evander Kane. Where does Evander Kane go? Does he try to take a very short contract with them? Victor Olofsson, this is a guy who, you know, he's had a weird one. Like he went to Vegas for a year, did okay, not great, but did okay. Then was kind of there to be a depth guy, and then went to and started this year with the Avs, and ultimately played very well for the Avalanche, and then was traded to the Flames. 31 points. Does he get a deal with another one of these young teams, maybe to try to unlock something? Will I don't think Calgary will re-sign him, but maybe a team that would a Florida try to get him? I think I want to try to add some more teams, but like maybe like what team would really really be in on him? Like I feel like an Anaheim might give him a shot, a Kings might give him a shot on a bottom pair. But I'm trying to really, really dig in of like a random ass team to just pick him up. Like Winnipeg. Like Winnipeg might need him. Or maybe like unfortunately some of these guys might go to the Vancouver just because Vancouver's gonna need some guys. Um we all know Taves is gone. David Perron. I think David Perron said he's retiring too, right? I could be wrong. But if David Perron still wants to play, I mean, does he want to try to go win another cup? Klingberg, I feel like that might be a re-sign, but if he's asking for too much, maybe not. Riley Smith, I think that he's gonna I'm convinced he's retiring. Okay? I'm convinced he's retiring. I think it's just like the way Vegas had him. Now, mind you, he's gonna have a head coach that is aware of his abilities, but he's also older. Is he willing to play another season? And I think he was in that role of basically being when he came in, he was a bottom six pair plus a extra forward that was healthy scratch. I think that's what Riley Smith has come to in his career. He's an older player. I mean, look at in 69 games, he only had 26 points, so not the craziest. But I think that, and that's also coming in and out of the lineup, so that might also have some effects on the playing. But I think that Riley Smith, I think if he signs a contract, at 35, you wonder a lot about families. Like, I think if it's Vegas or bust for me, right? I know that might not be the case. He might be like, you know what? No, I'll go to a Utah for, this amount of money and, move my family to Utah. Utah is an amazing place. I'm sure he and his family would love it there. Maybe a reunion somewhere else in somebody else's bottom six. I just feel like Riley Smith's at that point where I think he'll be willing to take a short-term contract, a very short-term contract, like $1 million a year, to be that extra forward / bottom pair guy to try to continue to have success with Vegas. If not, I think he retires. This mofo is gonna walk, and I think he's gonna go to like Boston. I don't know why. I just have a feeling. Logan Stanley, that's an interesting one. I feel like he's gonna be on the move. He's not gonna be in Buffalo. I feel like maybe he tries to go. I feel like a playoff team tries to get him to be like their bottom pair defenseman, especially if they can get him around that cash. I don't know who will though. That's a tough one. It's always hard when you're trying to think of rosters just off the top of your head. But like thinking about like Lazon, like if Lazon doesn't come back, maybe Stanley comes to Vegas. But I could also see him going somewhere like one of the New York teams. Like New York is gonna have to pick up some of these guys too. What's any name? Blankenberg. Ian Cole's gonna be an interesting name. I mean, he had a pretty decent year, especially postseason. I thought he would look pretty good. So maybe there's a reunion with the Mammoth. Nick Cousins. This is a depth guy who I think a lot of teams will probably be interested on, um, or interested in. Um, Yamamoto. I mean, he looked pretty decent in Utah. I think Utah might re-sign him. Like, notice now we're getting into the kind of some of the younger guys that are more intriguing. Um, Ferraro, I think he'll get a contract somewhere. I think that this is a guy. I think he's going east. I think he's going east unless they don't want him back. I don't think they will. So let's see any name that's no. Teddy Bluger is an interesting name to me. Somebody who would definitely be someone's bottom pair center. Kapanen is interesting. Tyson Jost, Nick Foligno is interesting. Adam Henrique. This is a guy who, like, I feel like he'll take a deal with one of these contenders. Lars Ellers is definitely the same thing. I feel like a veteran contract. Tanner Pearson, I think same thing, to be a bottom pair player. He's done that with teams already. Vegas is one of them. I wouldn't be shocked if they try to do it again. Ben Hutton, he's basically a bottom pair / extra defenseman. I mean, he's been good. He's been good in Vegas in that position. Like, does Vegas want to bring him back to kind of be that seventh defenseman? Does Hutton think he can get more, not only more on the open market, but a better spot? Maybe. Trevor Rams Reemsdyke, where is he? Is he going to return? I think now we're getting to the point where it's like, I don't know where half these guys. Kierfoot, interesting name. Lazon. I want to see if there's any name out here that just immediately, like, these are two that are crazy just because, like, where could Cole Smith go and where could Colton Sissons go? I don't think they go back to Vegas. If one guy's going back to Vegas, it's Cole Smith, and they're going to be asking for that same contract. Because Vegas, like I said, they're going to try to, if you can kind of keep this roster as much together, but especially these depth guys, if you can keep both Smiths for cheap, I think they'll take it. No. I'm trying to see any other name that is just. Jeff Petrie is someone that's interesting. Brandon Saad is a guy who I don't think will come back to Vegas unless something similar to Riley Smith, and they would have to take $1 million. But something tells me that Brandon Saad, I said Smith. Brandon Saad, I feel like he's gonna. What part of his career is he in? Because I feel like every team he's with, he's like kind of in cup mode. He was with the Blues before he was with Vegas. It just kind of feels like Brandon Saad might go to another cup contender, maybe a Dallas or something, Ryan Longberg, I think this is a good guy to bring in if you want some depth, especially if you're one of those young teams. I think that's okay. Well, that's it for this side. Is that all? Is that really all the contracts for these guys? How many free agents did it say? Oh, here you go. Let's say, I'm trying to see if I can find anyone else that really is intriguing so far. Nosek, I thought he signed a deal with the Czech League or something. That might be. Don't listen to that information. I might have just given you false information. Or don't quote me on it at least. Yevgeny Dodonov, a very interesting guy. Dang, played. Wow, how the mighty have fallen. Man, remember a couple years ago, Dodonov was like a goddamn scorer. Now he's might not even get signed. Patrick, okay, here's a name that is super interesting because with his injuries and all that, he could probably take less money. Where does a guy like Patrick Laine end up? And the fact that he's all the way down here, and is it? Yes, it is because it's based off points. I was about to say because Patrick Laine, he only played 5 games this year and had an assist. I think for Patrick Laine, I think this is a must if you could try to get to a team that needs your abilities badly. and to kind of make you feel comfortable. Now, I am just saying this to say this, but like a really good team, like if Dallas got their hands on him, I feel like they can get him back into the line that everyone knew. I think if a Vegas did, I think if a Lightning did, but that is the most intriguing thing to me because Line A, he's had those injury problems. Every time there's times where he just looks so good and then he gets hurt and then it's like golly every time. Does he stay east? I think it's time Montreal's done. Like maybe does an Ottawa try to get involved? Maybe a Sabres try to get involved. Pittsburgh, do they try to take a chance on him? St. Louis I think would be fine to take him for like a year. Would a Edmonton try to figure out a way to get him for a short term? That's like the most interesting name on here. And then a lot of these guys have either just been hurt up and down the lineup. Like that Dylan Coghlan, he only played 3 games. You saw how he did in the postseason though, and I think Vegas, if they can get him to be their 7th defenseman with around this much money, or even just a little upgrade, I think Vegas would be okay with him being their 7th defenseman at least, or anybody at that matter. Hold up, wait a minute. I don't know why the goaltenders aren't working. Because we have 2 different goalies. Also, we're not those. To be fair here, what is happening? To be fair here, oh, what is this? You're joking me. I could have had this instead. I didn't see Skinner's name on that list earlier. I was kind of moving that fast. Nah, I'm pissed. I'm pissed. You're telling me that this was actually an option? Yo, I did not have this earlier. I swear to Christ. So I swear I did not see this. So let's look at like unrestricted free let's look at the goaltending. Now, is there a reason there's a name on this list that I do not see right now? Oh, because it's based off their save percentage? That makes sense. Okay. I was about to say, there's a name that should be on the tippy top of that list. So no, now let's like genuinely take a minute to look at let's take a minute to look because we looked at the defensemen, we looked at all of that. Let's look at goaltending. Free agency goaltending. I don't think Matt Murray's going to get a lot of looks from a lot of teams. I don't think he is going to get a lot of looks, or I don't think Connor Ingram will get many looks from playoff teams. Potential. David Riddick, I don't see it. Copley, I don't see it. Quick is retiring. I don't see it from any of these guys. Maybe Talbot. But then these are the most interesting ones. Like Peter Mrazek, I feel like he might get a chance somewhere, but I just don't know where. And honestly, I actually prefer. I think I prefer just seeing their normal stuff because I keep messing everything up. But like Frederik Andersen and Bobrovsky are the clear front runners here. Like if you need a goalie, those are your 2. You saw what Andersen did. You saw what Bobrovsky did. But like I don't think Fred Anderson's going to be interesting just because it's like, man, we saw what happened. Like he couldn't save a breakaway to save his life. And, there's a reason why he got pulled. I feel like out of the 2, Bobrovsky's the best. Andersen is probably second on the list. Now, RFAs, let's do backwards. Let's do goaltending to forward. So goalies, there's only a handful. I feel like Columbus will get a deal done. I feel like Toronto just made this trade. I feel like unless you're moving him to another team, why are you going to keep him there, right? I don't know about these guys, but these are the 2 intriguing ones to me outside of Greaves. I think that I feel like Pittsburgh is going to keep Storlov. uh, Akira Schmid, I think that if Vegas, let's say they go for a Larkin or they truly need just to hope for the best and try to focus all their money and everything else, Akira Schmid will probably be re-signed. Now, if he doesn't get re-signed, and they don't re-sign him and like put him in Henderson, I think this could get interesting because then I think he's still young enough where I feel like a team could go take a chance on him. And I think he's a very light UF or RFA deal. Now, defenseman, it gets interesting. Obviously, we know that I think Calgary will do their best to make sure they keep their guy. Rysdale, I feel like I've heard a lot about like the potential that they might have to trade him. Hold up, nope, we're good. Thought I saw some crazy shiznizzle that we were gonna have to go through, but yeah, I feel like most of these guys are going to, and then obviously you see their points, but I feel like most of these guys are going to re-sign with their teams. But you just always have to look out for RFAs, especially when you look at how um, the Anaheim has to do, and Zellweger, like they got some people to go after. Um, is there any name that may or may not be on this list later? Um, and what guy could potentially just go off to a different team, like not even trade wise, but just like will Montreal try? I feel like this is just always an interesting name, just because every time I see his name, I'm like, I don't know how to say it. But then you look at the forwards, and obviously the most important part, I think, of this whole entire group. You have a new RFA, obviously. Carmichael is going to probably re-sign there. Benson's one of their biggest priorities. Bentelli is probably a huge priority. And that's why you look at also, like, golly, look at how much the Ducks have to do. Like, Zellweger, like, they have so many guys that they have to get done. But now, however, it does look like it's probably just going to be Leo Carlson. Leo Carlson's probably going to be the guy. It sounds like potentially they might get rid of Gunther. Bedard is the other big one. I think the three biggest names, like I know these guys are in front of them, but based off the performance in the playoffs, I think it's Robinson, Bedard, and Dorofeev that are the most intriguing names. I don't think that there's a world where Chicago doesn't keep Bedard. I do see a world where it's getting to the point where Dallas is getting rid of Robinson, and we'll see what happens with Dorofeev. I think the only way they keep Dorofeev is they can convince them to keep everything else. Peyton Krebs is going to be interesting. Like a lot of these different guys. Cole Perfetti is going to be a must to keep. Michelli, I haven't. Oh man, I didn't even think about Michelli as a wait. Yeah, you see Seattle that they have a new RFA. Like we're already seeing RFAs get traded, in little mini trades so far, that have happened. Zach Drury, like we're seeing a lot of these guys be traded in other deals that are bringing in other guys, so and more experience. So wonder if that's going to be the plan here. Cole Schmidt. Okay, yeah. So it definitely going to be an interesting class, free agency wise. I think that right now they to kind of wrap it up, and since we have a little bit of time, let's talk about Team USA. Because the biggest point that I feel like this is a great way to kind of end it. Team 2026. I feel like it's a great way to just be like, how the hell did we get to this point? And I think it's quite simple. Everyone's wondering, well, Brady Tkachuk, that whole scenario, this is a blurry picture. I'll just do this then. Well, there you go. Like Team USA won the gold medal in probably my favorite moment of the year. Like, it's funny how like you go on as the year goes on. It's like the Seahawks winning the Super Bowl, the Knicks winning the championship. You see the success of how things roll, and I think it's pretty freaking cool. But I think the one thing that is really impressive to me that it's this. Like, I absolutely enjoyed watching this. This was a game I woke up to make sure I watched. I didn't even wake up. I freaking stayed up. I was like, there's no way I'm waking up at 5 o'clock. I go to sleep hella late anyways. I'm staying up. Me and my friend, we stayed up all night. I recorded my reaction. I recorded my reaction for the women and Megan Keller scoring it. So I wanted to do it for the same for the men. And watching them win was amazing. That feeling that the Americans had for finally getting over that hump to winning the gold medal again. And yes, we all love Miracle and how, we beat the Soviets and all of that, but this was our version of having to win a game of against Goliath. We need to beat the best team in the league. And at that point in time, it is Canada. It will always be Canada. The reason why the four nations were the four nations because those are some of the top countries in the NHL. Obviously, Russia's one of them. We understand why they weren't in. But we are getting so many international games now that is kind of a must-have. Like, I need to see more U.S. players, and I need to see more tournaments. That's why I'm happy they're bringing back all these tournaments that are international because it is fun, not just for the viewers. It is fun for the fans. And there's nothing that makes me more happier than watching this gold medal game because it was fun, it was entertaining, and even though only two of these guys were a part of the Vegas Golden Knights, and that my team that I support 365 days out of the year, and guys that I respect, but when it goes time to play against, I hate. Quinn Hughes, hate him. I don't like when he gets the puck because I know he can score. Slavin, there's some guys I actually really like. Like Werenski, I like outside of it. Like, a lot of these guys they actually do like outside of the Golden Knights. I could like guys from the other I could like guys from the other teams, right? That's fine. But there is just something with, like, I don't like Brady that much. I don't like Matthew Tkachuk that much. So, like, being able to support them is kind of rough. Austin Matthews, I've said a lot of things about him. But you start looking at, like, the list of players, and you think about where their teams are. The Bruins are kind of in a weird spot right now that they're in the playoffs, they're not in the playoffs, and they're kind of in that mode where it's like, if Jeremy Swayman in a couple of years, hell, in maybe a year or two, and they're not winning, he might request a trade. The Texas hockey will always be competitive. But will Jake Ottinger be that guy that requests a trade? No, because they're successful. Will Minnesota be that? I think Quinn Hughes is going to wait and see. But when he signs an extension, he believes that this is a place that could win and win a Stanley Cup. Dylan Larkin will come back. Jack Eichel, a part of a team that always wants to win every single season and proves it every single year. McAvoy, same thing as Swayman. Austin Matthews. There's a reason why people are wondering if he's going to stay on his team. Because is a guy that has never been passed, similar to his friend that went his first year with Vegas. Is there a potential that he's gone? I don't know. But I think right now, I don't think Austin Matthews is thinking about his future in Toronto if they have another bad year. Matthew Tkachuk. Same thing with Eichel. You're on a Stanley Cup championship team that tries to go at it every single year. Brock Nelson was a part of a team that really wasn't winning much. Like, they would win, but they've never been, like, far in the dance. He ends up getting traded to one that is. Now, this was obviously before the tournament. Brady Tkachuk not had great success in the postseason when he's been in it, and that team always feels mediocre, and they barely squeak into the postseason, and they barely do anything. Zach Werenski, kind of the same thing. Like, he's on that team similar to Larkin, where it's like, are we gonna ever win? Are we ever gonna get past the second, like, into a playoff round? Are we ever gonna get back into contention? Are we ever gonna win some series? Like, that, it's been a long time since the Columbus Blue Jackets, it feels like. JT Miller, like, would he request another trade to one of these places, like a Dallas or Vegas? Because right now, New York ain't winning. Connor Hellebuck. We know a lot. We know about Connor Hellebuck, right? Like, he is potentially also on the move because what have they done lately? He's done so many good things by himself, individually, that he hasn't won the Stanley Cup. He hasn't been in the Western Conference Finals since 2018. I'm sure he wants to go back. Think about that. Think about since 2018. He's been to it once since 2018. Vegas has been to it 5 times. Gone to the Cup 3 of them. 5 times. So of course he would want to go to Vegas because at least they can get to the Western Conference Finals and then probably try to win the Cup. And then you have Kyle Connor, same boat. Jackson Lacombe, he's on a young up and coming team. I think it's okay. Noah Hannafin, same as Eichel. Tage Thompson, there was questions about Tage Thompson and if Buffalo wouldn't make the playoffs, even though they got into a good spot. But before, does everyone forget this season? They were like, well, what's going to happen with Alex Tuch, Tage Thompson, all these guys? Even I think they were even talking about Rasmus Dahlin. Like, the core players in Buffalo, what is going to happen to them if they don't make if they don't make the final? Sorry, if they don't make the playoffs. Well, they freaking figured they don't have to figure it out because they went to the playoffs and they did great. But now, what happens in 2 years if Buffalo is back to missing again and making bad mistakes? Already 2 of their top guys are gone. Oh, well, at least one of them. So, Jacob Slavin is a part of a team that wins. Jake Sanderson, would he request a trade? Matt Boldy's on a team that's pretty good. Chris Keller's on an up-and-coming team that's pretty gosh darn good. Is that it? By the way, I said Clayton Keller, and that is not even great. Because I read Clayton Keller's name down here, and I was like, I definitely am dumb. Did not pay attention at all. Let's see. So Jack Hughes. What about Jack Hughes? If Jack Hughes in about 2 years? Nah. Let's say this year. Let's say Jack Hughes enters this year and maybe even next year. And New Jersey's not back in the postseason. New Jersey's still struggling. New Jersey still can't get past it. And they have a really good roster. When does he just say, F this, I'm out too? It could happen. Jake Gensel is a part of a Florida team that they're always they're always in it to win it. Maybe they need to bring in and be a little more aggressive like they used to be, but I think they're still trying to battle the effects of, when they were really aggressive. Brock Faber, I mean, we know that he's on a team now that does pretty gosh darn good. Then you have Vincent Trocheck in a situation where it's like, is Vincent Trocheck gonna freaking be that guy? Like I said about Clayton Keller. So it's like, of course, when you win something, especially if you go, some of those guys, who knows when the last time they won anything, right? Like, you think about juniors, you think about when you were a young guy, like, if you didn't win recently, I think that definitely has a toll on you. You want to win. You play the game to win. And sometimes managerial staffs, and you think about some of those teams, like, think about some teams that have struggled. Heck, if the Mammoth don't do good, maybe Clayton Keller asks for a trade. Like, we don't know, but all we know is that some of these guys, like, the amount of head coaches that change. Like, think about New Jersey. They change head coaches a lot. Like, sometimes when you don't have stability, especially at the GM position, that's where it's nervous. Like, Vegas, they'll always be successful because the same people are running it. Bill Foley is running it. Like, they don't have new ownership. They don't have new GM. That is always never untouched. They worry about the personnel of running the team, of who's the head guy who's going to lead our team into victory. They found their guy in Ryan Craig who will listen to them, and they use a lot of analytics and statistics to build their lineups. And I think that they're kind of gonna take over for coaching. Not really, but I think they're gonna be like, hey, we recommend putting this person with this person with this person because it's worked. So who knows? But I love that we come in here. Oh my god, I could have just done this. But I like that we come in here and we're like, oh well, who's gonna do what, and like, what teams deserve to be here and all that fun stuff. But it's like Kyle Connor's someone who I could see being on the list too. Like, and I think if Connor Hellebuck's gone, I think so. Kyle Connor's also gone. I don't know about you guys, but that's just me. I think he's gone. If Kyle Connor is sitting here and they end up being like, hey, we're trading away Connor Hellebuck. If I'm Kyle Connor, I am probably requesting a trade out of there. In a year, next offseason. Because if they get a haul, like they get some players that could hopefully help them get back to the postseason, he might wait off. But if they get eliminated, like in December and they're a bad team, I think that maybe you'll look at that. But I'm gonna only go for a couple more minutes. I'm happy I made it to 2 hours. I like kind of giving myself like a limit. I don't know how often I'm gonna do these, and like how often I'm gonna stream, especially because I'm not gonna be back here at the setup. But maybe I'll try to do some videos every now and then. Out and about. But yeah, and maybe next time I'll try to make sure I do more of a maybe 1 hour is one thing, 1 hour is the next. Football's been a tad bit quiet, like nothing too crazy, where I feel like I need to get in on. And I really wanted the topic of the stream to be one thing to like kind of gravitate towards people, but yeah, I need to do better. I need to figure out one thing for sure. I want to figure out how I can go into YouTube, and maybe I could figure it out from here. But I gotta figure out. Oh, let's not do that. I gotta figure out how to be able to like a few hours before post the video so that way people could see it, or like the thumbnail, and then stream off of that. I'm not too sure on how to do that just yet, but yeah, and hopefully run it through OBS as well, because that's the big thing, or Streamlabs. So yeah, hopefully I'll get that figured out. And honestly, the only reason, like, I would have had an actual thumbnail, like I have a thumbnail ready to go. The problem is it wasn't it couldn't fit in the stuff. So I'll have to deal with that at a different time and date. But I enjoyed the stream. I think I'll have a decent outro too. Some outro music. I know you beautiful people like that. But yeah, I think it was a good stream. We'll keep updated. I actually expected, based off of how like the last couple of days, I figured we were gonna get a lot more moves, and trust me, I'm sure the moment I click that end stream button, we're gonna get an amazing trade. But definitely keep an eye out for a lot of the normals. Keep an eye out for Vegas. Keep an eye out for Florida. I feel like both teams are not done making a big time move, and it sounds like and like I've said in this whole video, it sounds like Vegas is trying to figure out one, if it's Dorofeyev or whoever, like they're going to try to figure out who the heck they're re-signing, and if Dorofeyev wants too much money, they'll send his ass to somewhere else and all that fun stuff. But alrighty, I'll cut it off a little bit before 2 hours, because I mean I'm not about to just fill in dead air, but I'll hit you with the theme song, and I will see you guys all in the next one. Thank you all for watching. And if you're watching this as a VOD, thank you. Like, subscribe, favorite, Let me know your thoughts and opinions. As always, follow me on everything, and I will see you beautiful people later. Have a good one.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm the king on the court, hear the crowd go wild. Ballin' like MJ, ain't no rookie child. From the jump shot to the touchdown pass, let go my ego, watch me outlast. Got my jersey on, number one, no debate. Crossing defenders, sealing my fate. Fans screaming loud my name in the lights. Every game I play, reaching new heights. You can't bench me now, I'm in the zone. MVP title, yeah, it's my throne. Never folding, I'm bringing the heat. Let go my ego, I never accept defeat. I'm the king, talking sports, reigning supreme. Slaying every game like it's a dream. Never let go of this ego, I hold more than enough for me and my amigos. Bold. From the diamond to the ice rink, I run the show. All eyes on me wherever I go. You drop the ball, I caught it all. Save the game when I got the call. From courtside seats to packed arenas, my name's in lights, big screens, big media. Fast breaks, hat tricks, slam dunks, and style playbook. Thick maneuvers, versatile. Fans chanting my name, yeah, they know my fame. From the kickoff whistle to the victory claim. Coaches, star player, team shining jewel. Never phased, I make my own rule. Give me space, no backing down now. Pressure's on, but never throw in the towel. You being edgy just fuels my fire. Let go my ego, elevating higher. I'm the king, talking sports, reigning supreme. Slaying every game like it's a dream. Never let go of this ego, I hold more than enough for me and my amigos. Bold. From the diamond to the ice rink, I run the show.